Hello, hello, I'm Casey.
And I'm Fallon.
And this is
Render the Darkness.
The fun fact for this episode is that elephants have shown that they have self-awareness. They're one of the few animals that can recognize themselves in a mirror.
Really?
That's what the scientists say.
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was neat, yeah.
Pretty cute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the murder of Lauren Burk. This is our second or third. Yeah, this is our third episode in the 50 state series.
Still in Alabama. This is our last case in Alabama.
Yes. All right, so Jim and his wife Vivian welcomed Lauren Burk into the world on December 30th, 1989. She was born in Marietta, Cobb County, Georgia, and she had a brother named Chad and a sister named Jacqueline. Her mother was born in Brazil, and her mother's parents live in Rio. Let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. De Janeiro. And her dad was from Cleveland, Ohio. Lauren graduated from Walton High, and she was a freshman at Auburn University. She was learning graphic design and wanted to make a career in photography as well as marketing. She was also in the Delta Gamma sorority, and she was on the lacrosse team. She was dating Sean McQuaid, who she had met in high school, and they both went to Auburn University. One of her favorite songs was by Coldplay called Don't Panic, Beautiful World. Her friends would describe Lauren as very well liked, a really good student, and she always had a smile on her face. They also said that she was always very happy and she would always be laughing. Mm-hmm. Now, Courtney Lockhart was born on October 20th, 1984. He joined the military in 2003 and was sent to South Korea and Iraq in 2004. And while he was in the military, he got into trouble for using marijuana, attacking, and threatening his fellow soldiers in 2006. And he was sent to jail. He also went AWOL, or away without leave, and attacked an officer. And he was jailed for that for 7 months, and the military gave him a dishonorable discharge in December of 2006. Now, because of what he's seen and went through during his time in combat, he did have some symptoms of PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder, but he was never actually medically diagnosed with it. In February of 2008, Courtney went on a pretty violent crime spree. He would commit armed robberies and car thefts in Alabama as well as Georgia. Most of his crimes were the same in the way that he committed them, except for one robbery at a convenience store. And he would find a female victim and come up from behind when she was getting into her car. He would then pull out a gun and tell her to hand over her purse and sometimes try and take the car as well. Now, on February 25th, 2008, Deborah Franklin made a report to the Lee County Sheriff's Department saying that a black male walked into the shortstop convenience store during her shift. He brought out a silver revolver and said, quote, "Give me the money." She told them that after he was given the money, he said, quote, "Give me the bag." And Deborah told him that she didn't have a bag, so he actually shot the cigarette counter and ran from the store. Now, on March 5th, 2008, at 10:20 p.m., the LaGrange, that's how you say it? LaGrange, Georgia, detectives received a call about a robbery in a parking lot of the Florence Hand Nursing Home that was on Medical Drive. Mm-hmm. Now, Cinda Morrow told the police that she was headed back to her car when a black male came up to her, pointed a gun at her, and said, quote, "Give me your purse or you're going to die." Now, on March 6, 2008, the Columbus police got a call about a robbery in the Sam's Club parking lot at 5448 Whittlesey Boulevard, Rachel Butcher told the police that a black male came up to her and pointed a gun at the head of her 3-year-old child, Aiden. She said that he would shoot the child if she didn't give him her purse. Now, on March 7th, 2008, at 9:15 a.m., the Noonan, Georgia police went to investigate a report of a carjacking at the Walmart parking lot of Bullsboro Drive. Now, a man named Scott O'Donnell told the police that he was getting out of his car when he seen a black male that was approaching him holding a gun. He said that he got back into his car and that he had seen the man start walking towards an older lady whose name was Marjorie Llewellyn. Now, Marjorie told the police that she was getting into her car about to leave Walmart when she was hit in the back of her head. Now, he told her that he was going to take her money and her car and then kill her. Now, she said that he pushed her into the passenger floorboard, took her wallet, and tried to leave the parking lot. Now, Scott actually started to follow them, and when Courtney noticed that he was being followed, he jumped out of her car, got back into his car, which was a silver Chrysler, and fled the scene. Now, the loss prevention department at Walmart was able to see the license plate on surveillance, which also showed the attack on Marjorie. And the police issued a BOLO, or be on the lookout, for that particular silver Chrysler. And about 30 minutes later, the Phoenix City, Alabama police let the Noonan police know that they had spotted him. Now, on March 4, 2008, Lauren was at her boyfriend's dorm room when she left to go to Ralph B. Drawn Library, where she had plans to go study with one of her friends. And at 8 o'clock p.m., Lauren was going back to her car, which was a 2001 Honda Civic, when Courtney made her get into her car while pointing a ROM RG revolver at her. Now, Lauren got into the passenger seat and Courtney got into the driver's seat. Lauren tried to make him leave by offering him $200 if he would just let her go. Unfortunately, he wouldn't take that offer. And while he was driving them off the campus, he made her take all of her clothes off because he didn't want her to try and escape. And he would later say that he didn't plan to have sex with her at any point in time. Now, with Lauren still in the car, he would drive around for 30 minutes talking to her about how hard his life was and how he didn't have a job. He continued to talk to her about how he thought that his life was pretty much over, and Lauren tried to tell him that she could help him get his life on track by helping him get a job. And Courtney would tell her that there wasn't any way she could help him and that it was the end for him. Now, Lauren's phone rang and he told her that she could answer it, but she had better not let anyone know what was happening. So she answered the phone, and it was her boyfriend asking where she was. And she had said that she had forgotten about the plans to go study with her friend and quickly ended the call. Now, Courtney started to get more agitated as time went by. So Lauren decided to try and, still not quite over the sickness. So Lauren decided to try and jump from the car. Now, when she jumped, she heard the gun go off. Now, there were, Now, there were some people who said that they heard 2 gunshots and seen Lauren jump from the car. Now, Courtney drove off, leaving her laying in the road on Alabama 147 between Lee Road 72 and US 280. Now, witnesses said that Lauren only had a pair of socks on, and when she got up, she was covered in road rash and a lot of cuts and scrapes, and at some point, she had fallen back to the ground. And when some of the witnesses went back to help Lauren, they said that they seen Courtney just sitting in the car, and then he just drove off. They saw Lauren laying on her back in the middle of the road, gasping for air. Now, at 9 p.m., 911 was called, and when the first responders got there, they tried to save her and took her to East Alabama Medical Center at 9:35 p.m., but unfortunately, she was later pronounced deceased because of the gunshot wound. Now, the autopsy showed that Lauren was shot at very close range, and the bullet entered through the back of her left shoulder, hit both of her lungs, and exited out of her right upper arm. Now, after Lauren had jumped from the car, Courtney looked for a place to turn around, but someone was already turning around the spot that he was going to use, so he just kept going and stopped at a gas station on North College Street. Now, at 9:17 p.m., he used her debit card that he had stolen from her to buy $14.65 worth of gas that he poured all over the inside of Lauren's car. Then he drove to Hilton Field parking lot, and on the way there, he would hear people saying that it smelled like someone's car was leaking gas, so he rolled the windows back up to try and hide the smell. Now, he tried to set the car on fire, but it didn't work the first time. So he went to retrieve a Burger King bag to try and use as a starter. Now, he ended up taking $46, an iPod, and her credit card, but he left her clothes, camera, and the rest of her money in the car before setting it on fire again. Now, Courtney left to go and get gas in his own car at Atlanta, again using her stolen credit card, used her card again at the Kroger in LaGrange, Georgia, before throwing it out the window. Went back to the campus to make sure that the car was still burning, then left again, and then he headed back to Alabama. Now, on March 4th, the police received a call about a car that was on fire on the Auburn campus. And after they put the fire out, they looked inside of the car and found a .38 caliber bullet lying under the driver's seat. They were able to run the registration on the vehicle and found that it was registered to Jim Burk, Lauren's dad. After he received the call about the police finding his daughter's car, he tried multiple times to reach Lauren but didn't get any response. In Phoenix City, Officer Dale Richards pulled Courtney over for speeding in a construction zone on Alabama Highway 80. When Officer Richards went to his car to run Courtney's information, he found out that he was wanted for questioning. So Officer Richards went back to his car and asked him to get out, but Courtney wouldn't do it, and he took off on Somerville Road and a chase began. 3 other officers joined the chase to catch him, and the speeds got up to about 100 miles per hour, and Courtney ran off the road multiple times, and sometime during the chase he threw his gun out of the window. Now, he suddenly stopped the car about a half a mile from Glenwood School and opened his door. Now, Officer Richards, who was driving a motorcycle, actually hit the door and flew over the front of his bike and landed on the road. Now, Courtney took off towards the woods, but the officers caught up to him pretty quickly and demanded that he get on the ground. Now, after several demands, he finally gave up and was handcuffed. Now, during the arrest, they found Lauren's iPod and cell phone on Courtney, and when they searched his vehicle, they found 3 .38 special casings and a green shirt that was covered in bloodstains. Now, after Courtney was arrested on March 7, 2008, he was questioned by a few different law enforcement agencies: the Phoenix Police Department, the Auburn Police Department, and the Alabama Bureau of Investigations. Now, he waived his Miranda rights and gave a pretty detailed statement that was recorded, and he gave them a handwritten and signed statement as well. He also informed them that he had thrown a gun out of the window when he went by the Publix supermarket that was on Somerville Road in Phoenix City. Now, the police went out to the location and they did find the weapon. On March 9, 2008, Courtney would again waive his Miranda rights and give another statement that was a lot more detailed than the first. Now, during the trial that started on November 8, 2010, a forensic scientist named Catherine Richard that specializes in gun and tool mark examination. Now, tool mark is like any impression, scratch, gouge, cut, or abrasion made when a tool is brought into contact with another object. Tool marks can take the form of negative impression, stamping type, or abrasion, which is friction type mark, according to the California Department of Justice Bureau of Forensic Services. Now, she worked for the Alabama Department of Forensic Science, and she said that the gun that the police found at the Publix supermarket was the gun that fired the bullet that was found in Lauren's car, and also matched the casings found in Courtney's car. She said that the gun was working properly, and that it took 5 pounds of pressure to pull the trigger to the back when the hammer was cocked. She also said that when the gun wasn't cocked, that it would take 12 pounds of pressure to pull the trigger. Now, a forensic DNA analyst that also worked for the Alabama Department of Forensic Science said that Lauren and Courtney's DNA matched the DNA that was found on that green shirt. During the trial, there was no mistake that Courtney was the reason for Lauren's death, but the defense's stand was that he didn't intentionally mean to kill her. They would say that he accidentally shot the gun, and because of his PTSD from being in the military, he couldn't mentally understand the nature of what he had done. So he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. It took only 6.5 hours over the course of 2 days for the jury to find him guilty of robbery, kidnapping, and capital murder. The sentence of the jury was life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, the jury didn't know about Courtney's previous criminal acts or his major problems in the military because Judge Walker wouldn't allow it in court. He said that if the jury did know about his past, they probably would have asked for a different sentence. He also stated that because Lauren was alone and unarmed and that Courtney chose her randomly, he thinks that warranted the death penalty. So Judge Walker would overturn the jury's sentence and sentence Courtney to death by lethal injection on March 2nd, 2011. During the trial, the prosecutor had asked Lauren's dad if she was a student at Auburn University in March 2008. He said, quote, "She was an excellent student. She was a shining star. She had a lot of potential." Later on, the prosecutor would ask him about when he went to identify his daughter's body. And he said, quote, "We followed Tommy Dawson to East Alabama Medical Center. They made us wait out there for 10 minutes. We finally got in there. They led us courteously to where she was. She was lying in a gurney with a white sheet up on her neck like she was sleeping like an angel. I looked at her, I said, 'Oh my God,' I kissed her forehead, and then I just left." That's so sad. Now, the prosecution would then show a photo of Lauren to her dad and asked if it showed how Lauren looked in the months before her death, and he said, quote, "Yes, she was a happy girl. She was an angel. She never wanted to even hurt a fly. She always looked on the bright side of things. She was an A student. She traveled the world. She loved rock and roll. She lost her whole future." Now, Courtney would go on to appeal his sentence to the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals, but they sustained the previous conviction in August 2013. The court said, quote, "The record reflects that Lockhart's sentence was not imposed under the influence of passion, prejudice, or any other arbitrary factor. He determined that Lockhart's sentence is neither disproportionate nor excessive to the penalty imposed in similar cases." So he then went on to petition for a rehearing, but the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals denied it in April 2014. So Courtney appealed to the Supreme Court of Alabama and was denied in September of 2014. In January 2015, he appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States, and they denied the petition in April 2015. Now, in September 2015, Courtney filed a Rule 32 petition. The petition would change his previous murder conviction as well as his death challenge. Now, a Rule 32 petition is used to allow the defendant to try and overturn their conviction because of some type of legal error or if they had new evidence. It is actually frequently connected to Alabama, where Rule 32 is used to denote this type of petitioning, or according to Rule 32 Petition Alabama, the law office of J.D. Lloyd. Now, he would also send an amended version in May of 2016. Now, in 2017, he included more allegations in that petition. In December 2018 and in February 2019, there were hearings held, and Courtney's new lawyers said that the ones who represented him during the trial didn't handle the case correctly and didn't provide evidence about his past trauma and how it affected him and how it influenced the shooting. They also asked that the gun be tested again. The prosecutor said that there isn't any reason to doubt the previous test that was done by state's experts.
So basically, they're just doing whatever they can to prolong this dude's death penalty.
Yes.
Because he was supposed to die in 2011, and we're in 2019 now, and this dude has managed to appeal his way to 8 more years of life.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if he was actually supposed to die in 2011.
Was that the day that he got sentenced?
Yeah, that was the day that the judge sentenced him. But I mean, it's still prolonging it.
Regardless, yeah, he's just prolonging his sentence.
Yeah. Okay, so Judge Walker denied Courtney's request, and he appealed that denial. The Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals upheld the murder conviction and the death sentence, and as of January 23rd, 2025, he is still sitting on death row of the Holman Corrections Facility.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, Lauren's family filed a claim against Auburn University after her death, saying that when they merged their security with the city's police force, that didn't leave enough security on campus, and they wanted to get $1 million. So in November 2014, the Alabama Board of Adjustment would deny that claim. But the university did start a scholarship in Lauren's honor for freshmen that wanted to major in graphic design. Now, Lauren's mom and dad have been huge supporters of Courtney's sentencing. Her mom said, excuse me, her mom said in a hearing in 2018, quote, "He didn't give her a second chance. He shouldn't get a second chance either." Now, her dad would say in another hearing in 2019, quote, "We maintain our desire for the death penalty. Lauren did get the death penalty without a hearing, and we will do anything it takes to continue this process. Even if it goes to the Supreme Court, the Burke family will never give up." So that is a terrible and tragic murder of Lauren Burk and the monster of a human being, if you would even want to call him that, who is still waiting for his lethal injection to this day.
Ridiculous.
Yes. I don't know why it's taken them so long.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't want to say what I was about to say because I know it's a very controversial, oh my goodness, thing to
Welcome
say.
to my world.
But if somebody has blatantly taken another person's life and it's obvious that there was no rhyme or reason or cause to take that person's life, and it's been told time and time and time again that they are getting the death penalty, like after so long, that person shouldn't have a right to continue to drag this victim's family through this over and over and reliving the death of their daughter over and over. Like, she's not going to be able to rest in peace until there's some kind of justice done.
I agree.
And I mean, I know he's sitting behind bars on death row, but like her dad said, you know, she didn't get a hearing.
No.
She didn't get appeal after appeal for why she shouldn't die. He made that decision for her.
Right. Yeah, I know. I completely
She had
agree.
her whole life ahead of her. She did nothing wrong.
No, just a random, just noticed her and decided to do it.
So, you know, like I said, the death penalty thing, it's a really controversial thing, and I really feel like when it comes to, you know, my personal feelings and opinions on whether it's right or wrong, it's very case specific.
Right.
And in this particular case, as someone who had proven that he had a criminal and intentionally violent past,
Right.
who you can see from his pattern of behaviors before, as they grow and escalate, he clearly wasn't going to change his path of behavior.
No, not at all.
Somebody was going to get the brunt of his behavior. So why not give this poor girl and her family some kind of justice?
Yeah, like I said, I don't
These
know why it's
cases
taking
make
so
me
long.
so irritated, and good for Alabama for upholding that sentence.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of states that would not. There's a lot of states that after so many appeals, they might have revised it. They might have changed it.
Which, I mean, of course I didn't include this in it, but I did read a lot that a lot of people are actually upset that the judge overturned the jury sentence. They don't think that it was right, that he had the authority to do it after the jury, you know.
Gave him the life sentence or whatever. Well,
I mean, some people, you know, are happy with it. Like I said, her family, that they're happy with that. That's what they're wanting. So I think that should be, you know.
Again, I'm going to say something really controversial here, but I just feel like in these types of cases, I feel like, you know, once the jury has decided that this person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever their requirement in finding the verdict, guilty or not guilty, has come to play, I think the family should have a say in what sentence that person gets at that point.
I completely agree.
I don't feel like a jury who had no emotional attachment to this case at all should be the ones who get to decide
What the punishment is?
I mean, juries are usually made up of random people that get pulled from out of the public.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like a judge who's gone to college, who's done the terms as a lawyer, who's made his way through the legal system and has a vast knowledge of those kinds of things and have seen case after case after case, I think a judge should have a higher authority to make that call than, somebody that got pulled out of their job for a couple of days to sit in a jury.
Right.
That it has never done anything in the legal system ever.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like, if they ever call me like, hey, we need you for jury duty about this, person that committed a murder, I'll be like,
Yeah,
who I know?
Who am I to make that decision?
Yeah,
who am I to determine? I mean, I'll give you my opinion on if I think they did it or they didn't do it, but when it comes to the sentencing, who am I to judge or determine what sentence they should get?
Right, yeah, I agree. I think, it should be kind of like you said. I think the judge and the family should go into a room after, the guilty verdict or, once that is, said, they should go into a room and decide and talk about what the family wants, how they feel it should be taken, and then the judge is like, will tells how he thinks it should happen. They should just agree on a sentence together and nobody else. No media, no jury, nobody else needs to have any kind of say in what happens to that person that took their family member's life.
Yep, that's my opinion as well. I agree.
So.
But poor Lauren, and rest in peace to Lauren, and I hope that one day she gets justice, because my personal opinion, I don't think him just sitting behind bars is enough.
Well, no, because he's getting free medical care, he's getting food, he's getting water, he's probably being able to go out into the yard and get exercise, sunlight. She don't get any of that.
Yeah.
So
It's sad, very sad. And I know there's going to be some people that are very against what we just said, and that whole second chance thing, and that whole everybody should get the opportunity to whatever. I know there's going to be people out there who differ in their opinion, and that's fine. And I understand that perspective too. I do. And like I said, I feel like my opinion on these types of matters are very case specific. I don't feel that way on every case, in every situation.
And also, I think too, he had chance after chance after chance. He may not have, committed additional murders, but, in the military, he attacked officers, he attacked his soldier buddies, and then, in the parking lot, and the women, and, that he was attacking.
He had a long line of violent history.
And he got chance after chance after chance.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, like you said, there are going to be people that disagree, and I'm sorry if you disagree, but that's just my opinion.
But, thank you for spending your time with us, and that was the last case in our Alabama cases for our 50-state series, and our next state is Alaska.
Let's go.
So we hope that you will join us for Alaska.
Yep.
And every other state after that. We're just going to keep on rolling.
All these states.
Other than that, thank you guys so much for spending time with us. We really appreciate it. And this is Render the Darkness.
Bye.